It's a Wonderful Life movie. It's about God's grace and boundless love for people and the genuine, surprising capacity for human beings to do the right thing. George Bailey grows up in Bedford Falls. He works at the druggist's. Mr. Gower here is very sad, very upset, because his son has died of the Spanish flu. George realizes that Mr. Gower put the wrong pills, poison pills, in the medicine bottle, not medicine, and Mr. Gower tearfully thanks him for saving him from certain prison. George takes over the savings and loan when his father Peter Bailey dies, and Mr. Potter, who owns a large percentage of this business, threatens to fold it, quite a lot, would like it to disappear, because it competes with what he does in the town. He rents out to people who cannot buy their own home. Here George is talking to Mr. Bailey furiously and not happily, calls him a scurvy little spider. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? George and Mary dance at a dance in which they fall in a pool underneath the gym floor that opens up, and they're dancing to Charleston. They walk home dressed in funny clothes and sing, and they decide to get married. Unfortunately, there's a severe economic crisis the very day that they are leaving on their honeymoon. George has saved $2,000 cash, but they're not going to go because he uses it to pay investors, depositors, money to keep the building and loan going. George and Mary love each other, and now abide faith, hope, and love, these three, but the greatest of these is love. When someone's able to buy a home, getting a mortgage through the building and loan, the Baileys toast them and help them move. Bread, that the house may never know hunger. Salt, that life may always have flavor. And wine, that joy and prosperity may reign forever. It is Christmas Eve, and Uncle Billy has accidentally lost an envelope filled with cash to deposit Mr. Potter's bank, $8,000. George and Billy look and cannot find this bag of cash, this envelope, this extremely important amount of money. Mr. Potter is begged to allow them to extend the loan, but he says no. George goes home. He's desperate. He doesn't know what he's going to do. Mary's decorating the tree. Pete is practicing and asks how to spell hallelujah. And Janie's playing Hark, the Herald Angels Sing on the piano. Zuzu's upstairs. She has a cold, and she brought home from school an award and an affection symbol, a rose. But the petals are falling off, and George takes the petals, and she says, "Paste it, Dad." And he, instead of pasting it, puts those petals in his watch pocket. George leaves. He is very sad, and he kisses his wife and tells her that he loves her. George is very, very sad. He prays, "Oh God, dear Father in heaven, I'm not a praying man, but if you're up there, can you hear me? If you can hear me, show me the way. I'm at the end of my rope. Show me the way, oh God." And Mr. Martini is consoling him. George's prayers heard, and so are the prayers of the people in Bedford Falls. Because when George leaves the house, she calls Uncle Billy, and people are called. Friends and family, even family and friends who are out of town. Even Sam Wainwright, and he and his wife are in London. People pray, "I owe everything to George Bailey. Help him, dear Father." His mother prays, "Help my son George tonight." Mary prays, "I love him, dear Lord. Watch over him tonight." And she tells Mary tells her children to pray for Daddy. Janie prays, "Please God, something the matter with Daddy." And Zuzu prays, "Please bring Daddy back." Clarence is George's guardian angel, and he comes and helps George. George is so despairing he wishes he'd never been born. And George and Clarence walk around the town. God grants George's wish, and in fact he finds Zuzu's petals are not in his pocket. He's walking around the town. He was never married to Mary. He never had children. The building in Lone folded. Uncle Billy is in an insane asylum. And people are so sad. The town is terrible. And he realizes, with Clarence's help, who says, each man's life touches so many others, and when he isn't around anymore, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he? And George realizes his life, despite his failings and doubts, has been full and successful, as measured by the yardstick of humanity and faith. George reunites with his family, and as he's holding Zuzu, a little bell rings on the tree, and Zuzu says, "Teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings." And George smiles and says, "That's right," he winks, "Attaboy Clarence." And he goes out into the street and says, "Merry Christmas, Bedford Falls."